Hi, my name is Wfed, and today I'm going to be walking you guys step by step on how to set up an oxygen acetylene cutting torch. Okay. Before we get started, I want to go over some safety features. Make sure you have your glasses on, a number 5 shade cutting lens, proper work attire, cotton, wool, denim, or leather. Can't go wrong with those 4. Okay. So oxygen, is going to be color coded in green, acetylene, and red. Remember that. Okay. So first thing we want to do is inspect the lines. Inspect all the tools, make sure we have no kinks in the lines, no rips, no tears, okay? Everything's looking good over here. Over here I have my acetylene cylinder, and I have my oxygen cylinder, okay? So what you want to do, everything's based on the thickness of the material, okay? And that's going to be based on the size tip you need to be using, okay? So if you're going to be using, in our case, it's going to be 1/4 inch material. So we want to be using a double aught tip, okay? And when you set this up, you want to crack this cylinder 1/4 to 1/2 a turn, okay? This is our fuel right here, okay? Very important you do this. 1/4 to 1/2 a turn. The reason being is, in case there's an emergency, it's a quick shut off. Okay, remember that. So just 1/2 a turn. For our oxygen, we have a double seated valve, okay? So meaning if it's closed, it's seated. And this one, we want to slowly crack it, open it up all the way to seat the top valve. Okay? So in our case, we're going to be cutting 1/4 inch material. So my setting is going to be at 30 psi of oxygen and 5 of acetylene, okay? So I want to point out a few things on this torch body. We have our acetylene, we have our oxygen, okay? We have 3 valves, 1 for acetylene and 2 for our oxygen, okay? Remember that. This one for the oxygen, you want to have it all the way open. Okay, and these two, the acetylene and the oxygen up here, have them closed. And I'll demonstrate a little bit later why. Okay, in order to get our working pressure, we want to make sure we have our oxygen valve open. Now we want to set our oxygen to 30 psi. Once we've done that, we can go ahead and close our valve. Now we're going to open up our acetylene valve. And set it to 5. Okay, 5. Now we can go ahead and close it. One thing I want to point out, anytime you crack these valves, you want to stay away from the front of these right here, okay? These gauges, okay? A lot of times, these things can fly off and hit you right in the face. You want to make sure you stay away from that as you're cracking the valves. And always, again, crack it slowly, okay? Everything's done slowly here, okay? So now, what I want to do is put my glove on. I have my striker right here. What I want to do is crack open my fuel system, which is in our case acetylene. Okay, you want to crack it open just a hair, 1/4 turn if that. Now with my striker, make sure this torch is pointing away from you. Okay, use your striker. Boom, there you go. Okay, you see that soot right there, that smoke? You want to get rid of that. So what you want to do is add a little bit more. Turn it up a little bit till you get rid of all that soot. Okay. Now you can hear the torch. That sounds about right. Okay. Got rid of that soot. Now we're going to introduce the oxygen to it. Nice and easy. Oh, I added a little bit too much. Let's try it again. All right. So what we're looking for. What we're looking for is a series of cones, okay? And we're going to introduce that the oxygen just enough to flush it out to the cones. There it is right there. And what I'm gonna do, we have a little lever right here. We're gonna squeeze that lever, and we're gonna adjust. Okay, that looks good. We're ready to rock and roll, okay? So what we're gonna do right now, we're gonna go over here, we're gonna preheat the metal to its kindling temperature, okay? And then we're gonna focus the stream of oxygen to cut through the metal. That makes sense, okay? So here it goes. All right, so we're gonna first we always start on the edge of our plate, okay? Those series of needles, you wanna make sure they're barely up against the metal you're gonna be cutting, all right? You don't wanna bump it because it'll shut off. So you wanna be very careful with that. You always wanna start off with the edge of your plate, okay? You wanna kind of hold it like a cue stick. And what we gotta do, we gotta heat up the metal to a kindling temperature right at the edge of the plate. And once you see it turn orange, then you're gonna squeeze the trigger. We're gonna introduce the oxygen to it, and that's gonna cut the metal. Try to be as steady as possible. What I'm looking for is the bottom of the plate, underneath the plate, all the sparks going through. You want to have about a 5-degree travel angle in the direction you're going. You want to be pointing in the direction you're going. Okay? Now the proper procedure to turn your torch off, that all depends on the manufacturer, who you're using. We have Victor here, okay? Victor recommends you turning off your oxygen first, and then your acetylene, okay? So you want to come over to your cylinders, you want to shut off your acetylene, okay? Then your oxygen. But most importantly, what you want to do is you want to make sure you purge these lines, okay? You want to make sure you purge the lines. You make sure you have no fuel, no oxygen in the system left over, okay? Because that can be very, very dangerous. All right, so how do you purge it? Okay, you want to crack open the acetylene valve, just a hair. You want to loosen up the screw, hit the trigger, and what you're looking for is the needles going all the way down. That's how you know you purged it properly. Okay, so now we're going to go over here to the oxygen. We're going to do the same thing. Okay, I can close that. I can open up my oxygen valve, which is this one. Remember, this one's all the way open at all times. This is our valve for oxygen now. So we're going to crack that open. We're going to loosen it up, hit the trigger. Okay, my needles are down. And finally, loosen it up here. Everything's good, shut it off here. All right, everything's nice and purged. Okay, so again, this is a good cutting process. It could be a little hazard if it's not used properly, but make sure you read the manufacturer specs on how to properly use these things, okay? Very important, because it all depends on the manufacturer, right? And what are you using, okay? Also, selecting the proper tip, okay? Very important to success. You want to make sure you select the proper tip, okay? And there's a lot of charts out there online, you can check it out. Okay, in my situation, I'm cutting 1/4-inch material, and it's requiring a double-aught tip, okay? But another thing you want to look into is when you're using these tips, you want to make sure they're clean, okay? They have a little cleaning system, little thingamajig right here, and you just kind of clean it out. Make sure your system's working properly at all times, especially a system like this, oxygen acetylene cutting torch. Oh man, it's very imperative that you understand how to operate properly, okay? So I'll do a little recap here, how to turn it on. Crack it open, crack open the fuel, acetylene, hit it with the striker. Okay, get rid of the sud, introduce the oxygen to it, slowly, even out those series of needles. Hit the trigger, adjust it a little bit more. Boom, now you're ready to rock and roll, okay? And then to shut it off again, shut off out the oxygen, acetylene. And lastly, make sure you purge these lines. Okay, very important to purge them.